I feel good.
Voix 2001.
I want to talk about the album that influenced me most, because I don't think enough people talk about it. For me, it was I Wish My Brother George Was Here by Dale the Funky Homo Sapien. And I remember getting it at the record store at the warehouse. I might have stolen it, I don't know if I bought it. But it had a unique cover because it was purple and it just didn't look like other rap covers. And it had a long name, and his name was the Funky Homo Sapien, and I didn't understand. In 1991 it came out, so I was 12, 13 years old. And I knew on the record store, it had like a little display, and it said that he was Ice Cube's cousin, and Ice Cube was my favorite, and so I said, I gotta try this. And I think I did the album. I had seen ads for it, and I think I may have seen the video for Sleeping on My Couch, but I don't think I even saw that yet. And I just tried something. It was new. It was $7.99. That was on sale, and I remember sweeping my mom's garage. I used to do a lot of chores around the house, sweeping and cleaning and gardening, and just thinking like, wow, he rapped about. There's a song called The Wacky World of Rapid Transit where he was rapping about taking the bus, and no rapper rapped about taking the bus from the West Coast. Like, it was always about your car, your lowrider, your gun, or your drugs. And then he did Hood's Coming Desmond where he rapped about him getting robbed. And like, usually all the rappers on the West Coast rapped about, or all rappers rapped about robbing other people. I was like, wow, this guy is crazy. You know, he's just telling stuff that I can really relate to, not imagine. Like, a lot of rappers talked about things that I could imagine, but no rapper was talking about things I was going through. Then he had Sleeping on My Couch where he just talked about homies that were, and he used a lot of big words, but he talked about homies who were sleeping on his couch, and I thought that was strange. And he's like, you know, there's something that people come over and wonder where the squadron's at. They ain't gone, they're just down at the laundromat. And the fact that he had like multiple syllable lines like that, and it was just, it was amazing to me, man. And he wasn't super pro-black, he wasn't super gangster, kind of middle, but the beats were funky like West Coast, but a creative funky. It wasn't just Funky Worm. Then there's a song called Dr. Bombay, and later on I found out that Dale supposedly wrote Gangsta's Fairy Tale for Ice Cube, and they were cousins. And Ice Cube wrote Dr. Bombay for Dale, so I thought that was cool. I always liked Dr. Bombay because he was just like talking about just fantasy rap, but it was fun, but it was still ghetto. It was like ghetto fantasy. It was like Parliament, but for my generation. You know, with a girl so big with a butt that claps riding a rhinoceros. And then he did Sunny Meadows, which was dope. Oh God. And then he had Same Old Thing, which just was a hard rap. He did Piston on Your Steps, where he was dissing people. You know, people that were dancing, because it was like right after Vanilla Ice, so he was dissing them. And he was Ice Cube's cousin. He was Ice Cube's weird cousin, and I was kind of like the weird kind of guy to a lot of my friends. So that helped me identify with it. It was just a great record from front to back. And then I think most great records are 14 songs. There's 14 songs. Yeah, man, it just changed my life. Like, here's a black guy that's down with the gangster rap crowd, has kind of gangster rap feel. His delivery is the same as Ice Cube, but his mentality was something different, and it was the birth of hieroglyphics. Even Mr. Dabalina, it was catchy, but we didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, but it was about somebody that was a biter, but it was, instead of saying biting ass niggas or something like that, he said Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Blah, and you had to listen. And it had Glory Hollow Stupid. It was like its own world, and it had the hieroglyphic symbol for the first time you ever see the 3 dots and a line. And he had his crew on the inside, and you were wondering who's coming next. And then if you even want to get into the vinyl, like the singles for the album had B-sides like Eye Examination, and his rhymes were just even more complex than that, like Mr. Twister, Picture, every single time, and a rhyme with a mystic flung, thick tongue, yo, crazy. And then he had Burnt on the B-side of Mr. Dabalina, which introduced Souls of Mischief and Casual, and it's just like from his first stop, like Opio's just coming in with the, it's Pete, Boom, Fapia hit this, Mischievous, Solarcidal, Idle Chatter, Never Slip, Splendid Lips. So it's like, it was just like amazing, like cadence and style and delivery you never heard. And these kids were like 16 and they're from the West Coast. And I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be like. And you know, a few years later, I ended up opening for them on tour, and that was my first American tour, was opening for Hieroglyphics. And I got to sit down with Dell and ask them questions and see Opio and Tajay and all those dudes every day and just interact with Casual. And then the Casual still had one of my, Casual has line on there was, if Tyson's last name was Raffone, I knock his ass out. Like Mike Raffone. Like, it was just crazy. He was 16, 17, and they were killing it. Then they all got signed and they were down on Q-Tip. It was just really, to me, big for the West Coast. It was like our version of Native Tongue. So right after that, I think Death Certificate came out, and that's a really powerful album for gangster rap and just for black consciousness, because it was produced by the same team of people, I believe, but that predicted the LA riots. The LA riots didn't happen until April 1992, and Death Certificate came out Halloween 1991, and he was talking about burning down stores and fuck the LAPD and fuck Daryl Gates, and then it all happened in April. So that was like the most, to me, most prophetic album. But they're produced by the same people and they came from the same family, because Dell and Cube are like first cousins. So I think that connection, but I like to talk, everybody knows about Death Certificate, but I wish my brother George was here, was right before that, 91. I think it's two sides of the same coin. It's the Bay Area side, where I learned a lot about hip hop. After I lived in LA, I moved to the Bay Area when I was 17, and I learned a lot about just that whole vibe and being more earthy and conscious and independent, and even from E40 and everything. But like, that was my introduction. Also, I had Spice One, but that was my first introduction to me, a whole lineage of Bay Area artists like Mystic Journeyman, The Grouch, the list goes on. And so shout out to Hieroglyphics and Dell. I forgot about Money for Sex, which was a kind of conscious record, but talking about girls not having any self-esteem and not really valuing their bodies, and a song respecting women was really important at that time. So Money for Sex was dope. Yeah, it just really educated me a lot. That's something I needed in my life. As far as my projects, I have my record with Fast Sean called This Generation, which is kind of testament to this new era of people who kind of grew up on all kind of hip hop. Even though there's a disparity in age, I feel like we meet in the middle and kind of speak for the hip hop generation and the technology generation. My last album was Ninth Wonder, called The Final Adventure. We've done 5 albums. This is our last one. It came out this year in November 2012. 10 songs as always. Very dope. And next year I'll be coming out with a punk rock, I don't know what to call the album, with Sasha Jenkins from Ego Trip Magazine, and Daryl Jennifer from Bad Brains does the production and the bass, and I do lead vocals, and the group's called the White Mandingos. I think the album's gonna be called The Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, and that'll be out on March on Fat Beats. Other than that, I promote a festival called Pay Dues, which I own. It's our 8th year. It's the Independent Hip Hop Festival, and hopefully we'll be bringing that on tour to Europe and Brazil and Australia this year. Thank you.
There ain't no difference between a gangbanger and Malcolm X. The same anger, just misdirected. Now neighborhoods infected, so I gotta speak the truth by the youth. I've been selected, so presidential, still rep my residential.